It's Wallace Technique time! And today we'll be talking about that of a weighted via, a fantastic core exercise that we are going to go through in detail right now. So if you're somebody that thinks you shouldn't do weight with your ab exercises and that's how you will get them more cut and burn belly fat, well, my fine feathered friend, I am afraid you are mistaken. Very important to do weighted core exercises. All right, and here is a good one. So, Janeway, you gotta watch out, buddy. He's a relentless lover. Unfortunately, we'll get him out of the way. So, to kind of start, let's go through how you're going to be laying. Move. How you're going to be laying. All right, make sure my feet are in there. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a weight, a dumbbell, right? And you are going to stand it up, a single dumbbell. What you're going to do then is clamp your feet. So you're clamping the dumbbell together. You have another dumbbell in your hands like this, okay? And what you're going to do is come from here, up, and this is the important part, reach, touch the dumbbell. Down, but don't touch the ground with your feet or your hands. Come up, straight arms, touch the dumbbell. So when we talk about the kind of weight you're going to have in your feet, of course, start without weight, see how it feels. Most of us out there would get a good workout without weight. It took a lot to work up to what I do to this day. But if you saw the video, that's why we're talking about this today. I put a video up of me doing this exercise and, with two different weights, right? 55 in the feet and 50 in the hands. And why? Shane, that sounds weird. Well, I want two different weights. Here's the thing. So I want you to picture something, and if you had this heavy dumbbell in your feet, or whatever dumbbell, right, and you had no weight in your hands, what would happen when you came up like this? Right? You'd go and fling forward. Now, good core strength, you could hold your legs up there still. And that would be very hard, right? So really, the less weight in your hands, the harder in that sense. But there is an advantage to having heavy weight in your hands as well, a different one. And it's the fact that it makes it more of a full body workout, all right? You have to use your shoulders. And think about this part, right? When you're up here and you're reaching, if you have no weight, it's not as bad. With weight here, and you got to reach, really good for the upper rectus abdominals, right? Not to mention, again, the shoulders, and it just makes it a harder workout. You break a sweat real quick, I promise you that. So that's why I had different weight. And, if you're when you have weight in your hands and in your feet, try to make the weight in your hands a little bit lighter. If you want to get the full body workout, but you want to do it effectively, make the weight in your hands a few pounds lighter. Like for me, it was 5 pounds lighter. All right. But you don't per se have to do that, right? I mean, if you want, you could start with this with, say, a 5-pound dumbbell in your feet, no weight in your hands. And it should be pretty difficult, right? Now, again, it's difficult in a different way. You have to stop yourself when you're here from flinging forward. So you got to hold yourself while you're moving this, right? And that's hard too. So, what might be good is to do both, all right? And when we talk about sets, now I did that one set. I consider them, power sets, right? Or you could say bulk sets, but it's not a good word here because it doesn't necessarily make your abs bulky. It builds your rectus abdominals and your obliques. But it's something that is almost always overlooked with abs is using weight. People do 1 million crunches. they sit there and they do all these V-ups, all these suitcase crunches without weight. And you can get such an effective workout using the weight in short time, right? You don't need to be there for 2 hours. So I did the first set with that. For 5 sets, I took about 1.5 minutes between each. Good rest, all right? Because we're getting the power. We're getting the heavy weight at first to build the muscles, all right? And weight like that, their metabolic demand is increased, right? So what's going to happen? They need more protein. They need more fuel, right? You're going to burn, in simple terms, you'll be burning what's around them. I don't want, that's, scientifically we could talk about a lot of terminology, but that's the point. It's important, even if you want to get cut, to build your muscles, to get lean muscle mass, right? You got to make them strong, all right? So for whatever your goal really is. So having said that, 5 sets like that with ample rest. After that, you can move on to a different exercise, and I'll talk about a bunch of other ones. But, if you want to try a day where you do all these weighted V-ups, you can do them with suitcase crunches too, which look like this. I'll show you quick. Right? So you'd have the same thing, clamp the dumbbell with your feet, one overhead, and suitcase. Bringing this dumbbell above your knees, right? And not letting your feet sink in. Try to keep them up, all right? Don't get lazy. And when you come out, you come up, out, and down. Up and in. You don't come like this. All right? Don't let your ankles sink. It's harder, but, it usually means it's better, baby, as long as you do it with good technique, right? So, if you're doing all V-ups, or you could say suitcase crunches for your core day, well, you could go for those 5 sets with ample rest and then do drop sets, right? Or really we should say compound sets because it's the same exercise. But, say you're doing, if you're doing 20 in the beginning, right, on that first set, try to stay with the same weight. Say you had 20 in the feet, 15 in the hands for 5 sets, again with ample rest, and then after that, do an additional 20 sets straight. You should be pretty roasted after that. So you'll do 1, right? Then you drop the weight. You go from a 20. You put the 15 in your feet, put a 10 in your hands. And here's a great golden rule you can go by. If you're trying to get more cut and bigger, or more cut and just stronger, right, at the same time. When you're doing a compound set or a drop set like that, don't drop the weight until you only can get 4 reps. So if you do that first set with the 20 in your feet, you get 12. All right, you take 5 breaths. Like so. You get just enough back to go right again, all right, after 5. And or you can count, 15 seconds, whatever floats your boat, but you get the concept here. So you do another set. Say you get 7. Same thing. Take your small rest. Go again. Say you get 5. Small amount of rest. Go again. All right, I got 4 or maybe even 3. Drop the weight. All right, but don't drop it until that point, because you don't know. Don't sell yourself short. You might get that same weight for 10 sets. And if you did, you probably started too light, right? But, that's another important principle. You can you can work on your power and increasing your strength while doing a drop set like that. It doesn't have to just be to get purely cut up, for cardio purposes, things like that. So, some food for thought, people. Take it how you would like. And that's what we got for you today. That was our first wellness workout technique discussion. We had a ton of at-home workouts, but we never talked about technique of a gym workout. So I'm very happy to have done it for the first time. We'll post plenty more of these so that you can apply it to your gym workouts and get the most out of each day you are in there, all right? And reach your goals as quickly as possible. So thank you very much. Who do we got? We got Nick. How you doing, man? And Tolly, what's up, my brother? How you doing? Thank you for hopping on. Have a fantastic rest of your night. We'll see you tomorrow, folks. And happy when wellness. Say goodbye to JMO. You stretching, buddy. You being a good boy. Have a good one, guys. Thanks.